you're a pirate. Okay.
I'm a pirate?
Fuck.
Arr! Okay, you get the sunglasses this time.
I got the sunglasses.
All right. So, welcome to Witches of the...
Witches of thee, and we still speak free.
Always. We are loudmouth bitches.
Little bit.
Yeah. Vocal witches, loudmouth bitches. Sean, that's the new shirt. Okay. So, we talked a little bit about our intro about how we're going to change the trajectory of this show. How we are going to talk about spiritualism, but we're also going to talk about current events and things like that. So what we're seeing mostly is as fascism is becoming more on the forefront, and we're seeing the rise of white nationalists and the alt-right and Jesus, I don't even know what to call the Jesus people now. Because they're not even Jesus people. I don't even know what they are. But there's a lot of stuff that's integrated. Evangelicals, that's the word. There's a lot of stuff that has bled into alternative spirituality as well.
Have you ever read a book or read something and been like, that sounds like Christianity?
Because it is.
Because it is.
It's just been painted differently. And so there's lots of things that when I first got into the New Age world again in 2014, outside of my own personal practice, there's a lot of starseed and indigo children, all of this stuff, right? So most of this stuff originates through theosophy, through Blavatsky.
If they didn't steal it from indigenous people and change it,
right?
But yes,
so, but it was colored through that, right?
Yes,
through colonization, through the changing of indigenous spirituality, whether that was American indigenous, South American indigenous, Asian indigenous, it's a Buddhism, all those things, right, were really brought to us. But one of the things that's been really prevalent we're seeing on social media right now is a lot about soul contracts. Did we sign a soul contract together, Kyla?
Yes. You and I were up there and we were like, hey, I'm going to pick this really bad thing so I can learn this lesson.
Right.
So, yeah. This one really is hard for me because I never agreed with it, but I'm, again, just going to be very honest and humble with you all. Someone I looked up to and considered a mentor was very much like, this is how it is. And I just, okay. Always kind of had it in the back of my head. I was like, well, it's more like this, but I still uplifted this idea. And, I am the astrologer, so I do believe that energy manifests and it shows. I do believe that we are going through certain trials. And maybe your energy body, if you want to say, chose that or whatever. But to me, it's more, it becomes this, it shows what's there. The idea of soul contracts, the idea that Shanna and I were up there together and we're like, oh my God, I want my fiance to die while I'm in New Mexico stranded in the desert. So I can learn from that.
I want to watch my boyfriend get shot in the head in a car next to me. None of that stuff happened.
We didn't choose that. We didn't choose that. And saying that you did, again, so this is
it takes away from personal responsibility too.
Yes.
Yeah.
But also all that stuff, if you look at anything that has a hint of they chose this and they're better and they chose this and they're here, anything smells like that, you have to go back because that's related to fascism. The idea that I chose a certain life that's better than someone who is begging for change or someone who is a slave, that they chose that so they could learn that again just implements white supremacy, the patriarchy, Christianity, all that stuff. I'm reading a really great book right now by Alice Miller. It says For Our Own Good, and I'm going to post more about that in the Patreon. But she very much points out and shows you that upholding these certain beliefs in Christianity is, and especially with how we deal with our children, is how we keep white supremacy around. And learning that was like, oh my gosh. Because one of the questions we got asked was, has astrology... this is kind of what started for me. Someone asked about astrology and fascism, because I talk about fascism a lot on TikTok, and they asked, has astrology ever been used? And the horrible thing is fucking yes.
Duh.
Yes. You know, if
Duh.
people had like a very strong Jupiter or a strong Venus, you know, oh, they were just so lucky and benefic. And if you had a malefic planet, oh, well, you just had to choose that. All of that, like, I'm better, I'm superior, I chose this, you chose that, you're over here.
I mean, it's like you didn't, like, unless you had like an immaculate natural birth, you didn't choose your birth time. There's situations and outside forces, so you can't necessarily choose your astrology, which is like your soul contract, right? So I after exploring things like past life regression, which I was not a fan of, and I believe I actually mentioned it in one of our shows. My girlfriend's
There's
now,
a whole show where Shayna's like, I hate past life shit.
but my girlfriend took QHHT, and I actually did the regression, which is totally different than getting a past life reading, where somebody else is telling you your past lives. You're telling the practitioner your past life, so it's a little different. And so I do kind of understand now how past lives are important, even though I'm an ancestral practitioner. I believe that those things all integrate, because now that I've done all this studying on the different planes and fucking aliens and all this other shit, like, I can see how it all integrates. I just don't think any of it is that fucking simple. There's not one thing that happened to you spiritually that negates or demonstrates everything about you. And so I think when people get stuck in those modes, which is why I was so obsessed with hating past life people, was because people get stuck in those things. Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, the reader says...
And they get to use it as an excuse.
Yes, and then it becomes a crutch, and then it becomes the thing that you use to excuse every bad thing you've ever done. And so that takes away from personal responsibility. Yes, trauma can cause you to do bad things, of course. But I don't think that you signed up to have the trauma so you could be a shitty person. I think that that's where it gets all tumbled in. We're all fucking special. It doesn't mean that because you were born in this specific generation that you have these special gifts. We talk a lot about the generations. We're seeing the Gen Z and the Gen Alpha is really out there fucking doing that hard ass work and being fucking rough with the government and not giving a fuck. And that is so fucking beautiful. But I don't think those kids, when they were in our wombs, said, hey, I want to go and live in a world where people want to try to kill me and I'm going to have to fight for my life. Like, they did not choose that shit.
That's a story from the Bible. That's Job.
Yeah.
That's Job.
Oh,
Job, remember? I don't know if you have, well, you were as indoctrinated as I was, but you know.
But I know about Job.
Job was someone you're supposed to look up to, right? Even though he just got shat on and shat on and shat on. The whole idea is that, oh, but he kept his faith and he finally got all that back.
No.
No. The idea that somehow suffering or not being equal is somehow a spiritual lesson or a gift.
Like, it's not a gift to be a fucking slave or to be homeless or to be poor or to be denigrated or to be abused. Like, that's not a fucking gift and nobody's choosing that, okay? Yeah. Sometimes outside forces do have a big ass influence on you. I'm not talking about demons or angels. I'm talking about people. Okay? It's about the fucking people. Mm-hmm. So we have to just let go of all of those names, you know? We have to let go of all of those titles that, like, give you some sort of speciality. You are special without a fucking title. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You also have trauma. You also have joy. You also have...
Everybody does.
Yeah. It's just... those titles just are breeding more... Fuck my words. Mercury retrograde. We're also doing this in Mercury retrograde. It just breeds more pompous bullshit. It's breeding more fascist
more
shit.
Ego, breeds more supremacy.
I mean, after seeing guys with the fucking Thor's hammer storming the fucking state capitol,
that killed me.
I mean, I was just like, wait a minute, I can't ever look at that symbol the same way again. Like, everything that I thought had some sort of power, even though that wasn't really my path, has been raped. It's all been raped. Everything that we thought was these like spiritual symbols, they're all a product of rape. And I'm not saying like physical rape. I'm talking about spiritual rape.
Even the original Nazi symbol. I mean, it's taken from the native peoples as a wonderful sign of
balance.
All peoples, and they took it And I mean, and they're still doing that shit. That
And now
shit
you
isn't stopping.
we made a button that said, Nazi lives don't matter with the symbol on it. It didn't even occur to us that would be offensive to people, even though it had an X through it.
Yeah.
Like
Some people cannot handle
we're
a
having
symbol, and
to
I
not even
understand
seeing
that.
it. So we have to like take that in, do the work, and move forward with it. Admit that we did something that offended somebody. And again, everything offends everybody nowadays. And so there are always going to be things that we're going to say that might offend you. I'm never going to apologize for cussing. But we will always take that mirror and look back in our faces at it. So
once you know better, you do better. And
Exactly.
We've said that over and over. And we both had Saturn go through some very, very prominent houses, and going into one, and so is Pluto. So we are doing that, and we're going to show it to you live, and I'm pretty excited about it.
yeah, we're about to be a little bit naked, even though
Yeah.
I mean maybe, but
Titties and tarot anymore.
Right.
I still have that idea.
painted titties and tarot. Like I'm
Listen,
telling you, there's lots
listen,
of things
maybe.
we can do.
Absolutely.
No, I'm kidding. Maybe. But but yeah, we wanna just deconstruct some of the things that we've brought to you before and show you that even we made mistakes. And we're willing to like.
And then it's constant.
Yeah.
Like this is never gonna end. Shannon and I are never gonna be like, oh my God, we know it all.
Everything's
Oh
over.
shit.
Yeah.
You know, you're never gonna see me do that with astrology. You're never gonna see me do that with any of the stuff, especially anything that's involved with healing. And we're cycling back.
Yeah.
Healing is not linear. It is
I
like
feel like
this.
we're little babies again.
Yeah, I do in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And it's kind of fun.
It is.
It's kind of fun to be a newbie again in a way, and just I love to be a student. I love to learn, and so
That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
And like I said, if there's something that you want to learn about that maybe you think we might want to learn about, like share that with us because we want to learn and grow with you again. That whole year and a half that we were doing the show before, we grew a lot and we learned a lot of stuff, and we had to examine ourselves after that. But now we're ready.
We miss the show though.
We miss
miss the
it.
connection.
We miss
man.
it. Yeah, it was super fun. I still can't watch them, but I'm gonna have to now, obviously. But it's hard to watch ourselves, especially now. with
Yeah,
everything
it
we've
would
been
be.
through.
It would be so. It's gonna be nasty.
Maybe we'll have like a show where we're watching the show and you can't see the show, and you're gonna watch us watch ourselves, so we can really be raw.
Yeah, then you guys will really see what
Yeah.
kind of person I am.
Yeah, we're ready. We're ready though. We're ready for it, and we're ready for you guys to bring us some topics that you want to hear us talk about. And again, there might be like a week where we don't do a show, and there might be 3 shows. We don't know how we're going to do this order, how it's all.
We're
gonna
not planning
flow.
it out
We're not
right now.
planning it out right now. We're going to kind of play by ear, and as things start to happen in the world, we're going to start doing more shit about it. There's a fucking French Revolution happening. I mean,
I feel like there's an American one too. It's just weird.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird.
I'm hoping with this summer with Pluto retrograde and Saturn retrograde, something fucking moves.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Well,
Anyway.
thanks for coming to our first fucking show. I know it was a little chaotic, but
I
honestly,
felt like it was good.
that's how we are.
Yeah.
That's kind of
It
how we
was
are.
our saddle.
Yeah,
It was our lane.
our saddle. I literally was picturing us. John, we need a graphic of us on a saddle. Okay, but anyways, we love you guys. Thanks for joining us. More to come.
Bless you.
More to come. Bless you.